Plano ISD Academy High School is focused on project-based learning.
You get to really experience how what you're learning in a classroom gets to apply to a real-world situation.
This place requires you to think in very innovative ways because our challenges are unique, and so our answers to those challenges are unique.
It is a project-based school. We do work in teams. You don't always get teams with people that you agree with or like or enjoy spending time with, but that's the real world. We were kind of pioneering this new venture, just the idea of having a solar-powered car. This was just so fascinating.
The Solar Car Challenge really is project-based learning at its finest. It goes beyond even what we dream that project-based learning can be in schools, because there is a real accountability for meeting the mark and meeting the goal in order to be able to even participate.
It's an organization where high schools from across the country come together and they compete. We were pioneering this new venture for our school district and our school, and especially ourselves, as we had never done this before. A budget a lot of times is what drives a design, but it's difficult to get money when you don't have a design. I like to compare it to the chicken and the egg. It's what comes first. Does the money come first? Does the design come first? They both kind of rely on each other. From there, we said, we really need to get some experience. And so we went, and the Outdoor Learning Center was extremely accommodating for us. They had a shed, though this shed was overheating, and it was extremely hot, and it was dark. They said, we've got a small grant, and so we worked to provide solar power. That solar power would provide lighting and ventilation for the shed. That gave us a great experience with working with a budget. It gave us experience working for a customer. That's where we got inspired to treat our club like a startup. We went on to get more experience. We created a small electric go-kart that we call the Chippy Cart, and we used that to kind of get some experience working with an electric car. With that, we then went on to decide we wanted to compete in the electric vehicle division. It was for the Solar Car Challenge, where they had, instead of a solar panel directly on the car, they would have an electric car that is powered by the sun. So you would have a separate charging station with solar panels on it that was off of the car, and you would have a car that was charged by the sun using the swappable battery packs.
We had district support to come over and listen to learners give presentations around what the scope of the project would require and what they were hoping to achieve.
So we went and we pitched to our school district, who had just announced that Toyota, who is moving to Plano, was a sponsor of theirs. And so they very generously allocated a budget to us. And so that really was when things started to really fall in place for us.
Toyota really honors the kind of authentic learning and multidisciplinary learning that Plano ISD Academy offers.
We established 3 goals. 1, we wanted to build a roadworthy solar-powered car. Goal number 2 was to learn as much in the process. We wanted to make this the best learning experience that we could have. And in our 3rd goal, it was to drive 1 mile in the Solar Car Challenge. That meant that we had to pass their scrutineering process, which was extremely rigorous and intense. It was really those goals and the people depending on us that kind of really pushed us and motivated us. Well, we got to June, and we didn't have a car. And it was really scary because we had signed up to compete in the Solar Car Challenge that July.
Once the actual build did start, it made things a lot easier, because the first day of the frame build, we got just sort of the base layer of the frame done. And then, once we knew that, we were able to say, I think we can get this done by the end of the week at this rate.
To compete in Solar Car, you need so many different types of skills.
A lot of it is just knowledge that they have. David loves economics, and he joined the club, and he really helps with that.
Our team is very well-rounded. We have lots of business people, we have lots of technical people, we have electrical people.
I had some background in electronic knowledge, but I learned a lot more in this club.
And everyone who comes in learns something new.
I could apply my knowledge in finance and economics whilst learning about how to build a solar car.
We had 6 weeks, and they were intense weeks. We were up here 14-hour days.
And a lot of what I'm doing is I'm learning as I go.
Margaret, Donald, and I, we were able to organize the inventory. And
everyone on the team will get their hands dirty and help out with the build. That really makes me happy to see everyone, even if they have little knowledge, just being able to help jump in.
Thought it was going to be, really easy, just put some stuff together and we get a car. And
Once we went to the solar car workshop, the advanced one, that really kicked things off, and then I felt like I knew kind of where I was headed with my design.
As we slowly got into it, I realized how much of a task this was. But as you start to break it down into the largest things. You do the largest things and the most important things, like the frame. You can't do anything else without the frame. So you have to design the frame and get that done. The car started with a drawing that George did.
I just went to looking at what other teams had done.
We all got drinking straws together, like a big pack, and everyone just started hot gluing stuff together. Eventually, we ended up with a functional straw model of the car.
We came into a lot of challenges with design on like where certain things were going to go in the car.
We're learning as we're failing through that, and then we're able to succeed because it's very learner driven. After we had our straw model that was in 10th scale, we were able to move very quickly to the build phase where we were able to just measure our straw model and everybody could see the straw model and hold it in their hands, which is almost better than a 3D model, even though it's a little bit harder to modify, maybe a little bit slower to make.
Even when we're not working, we're always thinking about how to solve the next problem.
In the actual build, the fabrication process, I knew that my learners had a plan. I didn't know that they were going to pull it off because our team started from scratch and fabricated everything. There are teams that use some prefabricated pieces as part of their car, or they're able to take a car that they had the previous year and then upgrade that based on a new design. We started from nothing.
Because we built the car ourselves, the failures, we know what went wrong, or it's easier for us to fix it. We're learning as we're failing through that, and then we're able to succeed because it's very learner driven. It's easy to be very proud of it.
It's new on multiple levels, and that makes it pretty exciting.
And to see just the amazing engineering that went into the design was really unexpected. Once that actual car started to come together, I became the biggest fan because I knew what I was cheering for.
Like, the race isn't as important as having the experience of building the car and getting the car inspected and scrutineering.
We are the ones that create the car. We are the ones that run the business. We're the ones that aid in the process of creating the Booster Club. We don't have teachers holding our hands and telling us what to do.
Really, really excited that I've joined, and I'm really glad that I did.
They don't give up, right? And when things get tough, like they work harder and they get more motivated. I think that's the thing that differentiates them from a lot of people in general, not just other kids.
You know, we put an emphasis on bonding and kind of growing this great dynamic within the team. And that really kind of grew into a great respect that we shared with each other. It gave all of us an opportunity to really explore our personal strengths, our personal passions, and really kind of see how those can apply to what we're doing.
The race isn't as important as having the experience of building the car and getting the car inspected and scrutineering.
We're here at Team Check-In of the Solar Car Challenge. We're very excited for this event to start, and we're really looking forward to this next week. We've still got brakes to work, get working. We're very nervous about that, but we've got scrutineering tomorrow and Saturday, and so we've got a couple days to really figure things out and pass our car, and so that we look forward to starting the race on Sunday.
Scrutineering was pretty stressful.
And there was an immense amount of pressure.
The first day we weren't really well coordinated. There wasn't a lot of communication. Stress kind of went up, especially as issues like the brakes. Honestly, I thought we weren't even going to make it at that rate. We had that whiteboard where we were writing down all of the scrutineering checks that we failed. With the Solar Car Challenge, they want this thing to be safe. So a lot of the things that we ran into were like the grade 8 bolts. As far as scrutineering goes, all of the improvements should have happened before the car made it to the competition, and unfortunately we couldn't go through testing, so we couldn't do that. When you're about to do something big for the first time, and even if you've rehearsed it, it's still your first time, and yeah, really, we were unprepared. I don't know how many other first-year teams there were there, but we definitely seemed like we were one of the least coordinated. Scrutineering ended at 5, so that would have been around 4:45 when we realized, okay, we're not going to make it. There's just too much to be done on the brakes. The next race day when we didn't go off, it was a little disappointing to not be able to set off on the actual start of the race with the other teams.
We have some people who have not passed scrutineering yet. They have the option to trailer onto Ardmore, fix the things that they needed to do. We'll scrutineer them tonight, and if they're ready to go, then they get to join the race on Monday.
The judges were wonderful to work with. I remember one of the ones that I was always talking to was David, and he was really helpful, just making recommendations on what to do. He was really good about clarifying his advice.
You don't know how happy I am to be able to sign this off.
Remember, this is about learning, it's about engineering, but it's also about having fun. This is a circus. This is like herding cats from Fort Worth to Minneapolis.
Plano Academy, are you here?
The thing that actually gave me hope was actually seeing the car move and brake.
I think this challenge has been a pretty awesome life experience because we're traveling literally straight up the United States through several states with our classmates, the people that we spent time with, hard-working hours creating the vehicle.
The lead car will pull onto the street. Can the solar car pull up next to the charging station?
They're following you.
If we can spark the imagination of a young person, if we can drive the creative juices of a science teacher to take on this project, then we've done what we are supposed to do.
You know, a lot of stressful environments, a lot of high-paced, quick-thinking decisions.
I was thinking the first 5 miles, and then trailering until probably here. Charging station, are you visible from the road?
Charging station, the lead car. We are visible on the side of the road with a similar setup as before.
With the power station, some of the challenges were setting it up so we could maximize efficiency as far as the sunlight, finding different locations and trying to coordinate with the rest of the team as they drove in the convoy, and we were sort of split away from that. And just lugging the battery boxes, that was really the biggest struggle.
On the right side car, we're moving a huge 120-pound battery box. That's us, but we're a little bit better.
A lot of what we've been doing is sort of guesstimating where the vehicle is going to end up and being able to intercept the vehicle whenever the battery dies.
We know that we need to get the car a lot closer to the charging station now.
I remember on the first day the judge complained we didn't have enough hustle, but today we over-hustled, looks like.
So pretty much my role is I'm communicating with the team about what I see and what the people in the car around me see. So with the sponsor sitting behind me and the judge and the driver as well, it's all of our opinions on what the car should do or where the car should be. And my job is to communicate between the judge and the rest of the team on what is the best way for the car to be safe.
That were only accomplishable because the team communicated with each other.
Today I was the safety officer and I protected the team from getting penalties and staying safe. No matter what, things will go wrong, but you can always overcome them as a team, and communication is key.
Beforehand, during the school year, it seemed like our club was a bit, on the it'll happen eventually type mindset. But now we've become a lot more organized as a team. We've become a lot more responsible, I guess you could say.
We were kind of just we were new to this, and we were like, okay, we need to get this done, but we weren't efficient at doing it. So we would get it, let's say swapping the batteries, we'd get it done, but it would take maybe 5 minutes, like 5 to 15 minutes, so that was a crazy waste of time. So now coming along and stuff, I feel that we've gotten a lot more efficient.
It's all about practicality and whether or not we can really use these type of cars. The winner of the Electric Solar Power Division yesterday with 24.6 miles yesterday and total, Plano Academy.
Day trophy, first place, the first day, and they race against themselves. They set their own expectations and they try to meet them. They don't worry about what other teams are doing.
So in Ponca City, I was honestly quite surprised when we had 10 or so people come up asking what they could do. We had an officer who drove off to go get us help.
30 seconds!
We really try to minimize the time in order to exchange the battery boxes and try to minimize the time to trailer, and that was successful. However, we should still be really careful safety-wise and make sure that everyone on the team is using proper safety procedures and following the orders of the judges.
56, 57.
These failures that we have, like the mechanical failures, it's bittersweet. It's bitter because we don't get to be on the road, right? But the sweet part is it gives other teams opportunities to help us out.
We need to replace both sides of it.
Yeah.
I'll get a ball peen hammer.
It's the device with the hammer?
Yeah. Hammer crank.
Yes.
You did that? Okay.
I was really proud of the way you guys performed today. We drove basically as much as we could. We drove all the miles that we could.
And the winner for day 6 in the electric solar power division, getting 79.4 yesterday, 162.3 total, Plano Academy.
I want to commend you for your work, and I promised you we would have a variety of racing. We've had hot, we've had doggone hot in Nebraska, and now we've got weather on the way.
So today it looks like it's going to start raining, and we're going to Minneapolis today for the last day of the race. And so the route looks like the rain is just going to keep covering it for the rest of the day, and it's going to be intense rain.
So the Solar Car Challenge is, I think it's a really cool event, not only because it's a competition, but it's a competition where you don't have to be competitive. Not only does that tell you how awesome this challenge is, it lets you understand that at the end of the day you want it to be an even playing field, and to helping other teams to the best of your ability is something that you need to do.
Knowing that other people care about this allows others to realize the magnitude of this project, and that helps a lot when you surround yourself with people who care about this, and that has to do a lot with our advisor and the older members who are really passionate about this.
It's a very helpful environment where if you find out, oh, we thought we had something packed, all of a sudden we can't find it, and then other teams are so willing to come and help us and give us the equipment we need, give us the help and knowledge that we need. Yeah, it's an amazing environment. The cooperation between teams, I've already seen it, and it's amazing. I know for us, like after we get everything settled, then we've been trying to help people as much as we can.
We're gonna make a spreadsheet in the very beginning of the year. We basically list out everything we have to do, and we try to follow it. Obviously, it doesn't always go as planned, but we add to it and change it. But that's basically how we structure it.
Extent to where you know what you're doing, you're going in, but you don't exactly know what's going to be best with your setup, because of course you throw in the settings that you already know, wheel diameter, all of that, and like voltages and all that. You just plug in, but there's other things that we had to mess around with and play around with to try and optimize our efficiency. We put so many hours of work time into it. To see something that was an idea, just a SolidWorks drawing, and now we have an actual car that we built from scratch, especially that we built it in such short time. It's amazing. So the experience is what it's really about.
After seeing all these cool designs and stuff, there really is no limit to what you can make your solar car look like or what kind of parts you can put in there. And we really want to learn as much as we can about the different types of materials that we can use and just have fun with it.
The race is all about different experiences every day. You run into different challenges and you have to overcome them. And this experience as a whole has definitely made us all, especially as a team, a lot more flexible.
What we've been saying a lot of the time is we want to run our own race, and that just means we want to just be better than ourselves. We don't want to compare ourselves to other cars. We don't want to be thinking about other people. We want to be thinking about ourselves in the sense that we just want to keep growing. We don't want to just be comparing ourselves to other teams. So we want to reflect back in a way that we know we've progressed like within our own team.
So every day starts, it's a new day, and we have a plan set out, and you have to stick to your plan. That's definitely one of the biggest challenges that we've had to overcome because, of course, as you guys know, if you run into a problem, all of a sudden it's 12 o'clock and you've no miles.
I get out of it honestly a lot of appreciation and gratitude. I really enjoy watching teams grow.
I was checking out Walnut's car, and they have a bolt that they can tighten.
Earlier in the summer, we were trying to get the whole team on a plan and working really efficiently, so we tried Tom Sachs's 10 bullets, and one of those bullets, number 2 I think, and number 2 was work to code, and part of working to code is having that on-the-job mentality, and another part of that would be nothing is more important than the task at hand. I mean, we started building the car in June, so reliability was another one of my big goals for next year. I don't want to have to touch the car after scrutineering.
And to have something go from one piece of chromoly steel into a vehicle that drives on the road is pretty awesome.
30 miles was the gap between our team and Voltec at the beginning of the day. Of course, they were still driving, so we weren't really sure how far they were going to get.
When all the team captains got up to speak about their experiences, a lot of the experiences were the same, where there was a lot of teamwork, a lot of collaboration with other teams, and it was just very awesome to see everyone's experiences, not just mine.
My award is given to the Solar Car team member displaying the true spirit of solar car racing. And this year, Margaret Seastrand is the winner of this award. Margaret.
There's been a lot of stressing out, hard working, and napping in Chase 2. These past 9 days have been tough, but through all the sweat and the panic, my team has had a blast.
We raced the same car this year, TARS, and we learned a lot on the tactical side. And so next year we hope to bring back even stronger.
And then 3 days after we decided to start our car, we found out about the Solar Car Challenge, and that really gave us direction in the project and gave us a really hard deadline that we had to meet.
Just a bunch of guys, girls, we're going to butt heads every now and then. We can't keep together 100% of the time, but we stuck in there, stuck it out. And this is my last year out here. I graduated, and I just want to wish everybody the best.
I've been doing this for about 4 years now, and every year I come back and it kind of strikes me that we're driving a car powered by the sun from Texas to Minneapolis.
And I think I can speak for my whole team whenever I say that we have absolutely enjoyed every minute of this competition.
This is our first year, and we came to scrutineering with, pretty proud of ourselves and confident after building a car in 6 weeks and everything. And we got to scrutineering feeling prepared, and we went and we checked in and we said, I'm ready for scrutineering. We weren't. And so we started to kind of figure out, what the challenge is like, and we went through a lot of the struggles, and it was really, really amazing. I wanted to say thank you to all the judges for their support and for their help and their patience as we learned throughout this experience. It's been truly a remarkable opportunity and experience for our team.
This is the closest results I've ever seen in a division, in the electric solar power division, winning the second place trophy with 229.3 miles. Voltec with 229.6 miles.
Being at the banquet and winning the national championship was I knew that we were doing well, but I wasn't quite sure where we were.
Alright, so basically what happened is that we won first place. Woo!
By 0.3 miles.
0.3 miles. We won second. Who wants to hold the trophy?
I was super thrilled. Everyone else around me, like Mr. Ng, could barely hold himself down from jumping up in joy when I'm pretty sure he got almost a foot off the ground when he heard that we won first place. And it was just the most amazing experience because everyone was just so excited. And even though we won and beat the other team was congratulating us and we were congratulating the other team. And to me, that was very amazing. And I feel like they did their best, and it didn't feel like they wanted to win, they just wanted to do their best.
This particular group of young people took on something that is really hard to fathom, especially if you don't understand all of the pieces that go into it.
That first team that we had, that junior year, that really was the team that kind of carried this forward. There's something very special about that team because that team, they all share a vision of what they wanted to set out to accomplish.
There are a lot of positive outcomes as a result of that experience, and I'm very proud of our learners and their participation in it.
This is something that I want to do when I'm in high school. This is something I want to do. When I grow up, I want to be one of these people.
It's called the Solar Car Challenge, and it rolled into Manhattan for a pit stop.
13's Kenya Mills shows us the cars.
19 teams from all across the U.S. racing solar cars.
And to just start from nothing to, they just started with a drawing.
The Solar Car Challenge education program teaches high school students how to design, engineer, build, and safely drive a solar car.
My role is to control the chaos.
Rob Goodson is an engineering teacher from Texas. To Goodson, the Solar Challenge is an unparalleled teaching tool.
These kids learn more doing this and making mistakes and figuring out the problems and going through this than I get them in class.
The Solar Challenge is designed to motivate students in science, engineering, and alternative energy.
Car mechanics as well, because I didn't know nothing about cars.
I've learned how to change brakes. I've learned how to find out what's wrong with a bearing, and I've learned all these different mechanical things because I do a lot of electrical stuff.
Just talking to the students, you get a sense they've learned a lot.
The energy transfers through these panels, goes through some wires, goes through these power trackers.
And are able to charge our batteries, and that takes about an hour. And then from there, we take this pack and we switch it out with the other one.
This car from Houston, Mississippi has won 14 Solar Challenge races.
The team, basically. We work together. If there's something wrong with the car, we'll go fix it right away. Just basically a team.
From science and technology to solar engineering, the Solar Challenge is much more than a race.
And I've also learned that it doesn't matter what you know, you can always learn more.
The race started this Sunday in Texas and ends this weekend in Minnesota. Kenya Mills, 13 News. And they obviously have no shortage of fuel source as they're headed through Kansas this week.